think I'll just see if I've done my volume on here, Jason, as well.
I can hear you fine, Tinky.
Right, are we on now? Hi guys, hope you're all okay. I just want to say how proud I am of everybody on Saturday for the mass live stream. I think it worked out absolutely amazing, and Katie and Zero News and Jason and everybody else that has been involved has just done. Everybody's so proud because it just went lovely. And I mean, I didn't even realize how long. I don't mean it like that, how long it was going to be on for, but I was glued from even me speaking. Do you know what I mean? So, for like, what was it? It was about four hours. I think was it.
I think it was 5 hours in the end. It was quite a
It was
lot. Yeah.
yeah. So, I'm just so proud of everybody. And, I just feel like the world is waking up because, every morning I go on my little YouTube and I check out my little David Icke. And there's another fellow I like called David Wilcock. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him. He's an American dude. And he speaks a lot about, where we came from, as in the Egyptians and, all these people with the elongated heads. I mean, I don't know if you want me to talk about that at the moment, but it's dead interesting to look back at where we came from and how our civilization started. Because one thing that every civilization, no civilization would work without water. And I know I sound like really crazy saying this, but it wouldn't work without water. But our government as well has been using our water to like poison us. Do you know what I mean? So they've been putting like fluoride in and other chemicals. So, it's important to go back and research your history and, water. It's because they've put so much stuff in our water. When we have like proper water, what's not full of chemicals, it's meant to revitalize all our bodies and, make us feel real good. But, at the minute, this government, just isn't allowing that to happen to us, and they've not been allowing it to happen from what I can see for definitely 2,000 years and beyond that. Do you know what I mean? So, it's worth getting out there and just seeing what these elite are up to, and how they're using the citizens really as like their guinea pigs. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to go too much about like
We
going.
know what, Tinky, during the old lockdown, when they announced all the shortages and there was all this sort of pandemonium and sort of hysteria about the lockdown, there was talk about the water supply being interfered with. And I was like, I went to Tesco's and I saw the bottled water. It was only cheap, it was like 19p for a big bottle. And I just bought like 3 or 4 bottles. And I never buy bottled water normally, but I thought, and as I bought it, I thought, I've got a tap at home, why am I doing this? But I thought, no, sod it, I'm not going to go for it. And then, it tastes nicer, and I might sound crazy saying about, bottled water tasting nicer than tap water, but it does, and it's so bloody cheap. I was thinking, why don't I just do this all the time? And now I just buy bottled water. I even fill the kettle with it, You could. I don't even need the tap water apart from washing up, But yeah, I think more people should buy bottled water. I think it's you know what you're getting. You're not getting all the fluoride, all the crap that's being put in. Because I don't trust them. I really don't.
I don't, and I've just recently, over the last few, like say 4 weeks, I bought 2 new kettles, and I bought one that was clear, and then one that had a thing inside it. Does that you know what I mean? Anyway, just
I've just always been a bit old school with the whole tap water's fine, all this crap about bottled water. I've always been a bit, not subscribing to all these things about fluoride in the water and all that. But now that I've gone down the bottled water route, I'm like, it's much better.
Once you start looking into it, and you see, what I couldn't understand was, when they say that you get like that stuff coming off your kettle and what have you, and you should use another chemical then to get rid of it. Does that make sense? I can't think what it's called now. It's gone off.
Yeah, it's all descaled the kettle. Yes.
Yeah.
It shows you what's in the water, doesn't it? I mean, these people that use water purifiers, they talk about finding little bits of sand and grit and in the water. I'm like, that's quite to think you're drinking that without even knowing. Normally, it's quite worrying.
What I found is with this see-through kettle, because for a little bit, I was boiling my water in my pan when my kettle broke, and I noticed like these little white spots all coming up just on a stainless steel pan, and I was like, wow, what's that? So I started cleaning it off, and then once I got my kettle, I kept checking it. Now within a week, it had got a full foam all around it of this chemical, which I believe is like your fluoride, but once it's been boiled, it must come down into like into the into the what do you call it, into the thing that it was in the first place. Does that make sense? So whatever they've put it in, like, it dissolves, but then when you heat it up, it comes back into a compound. Does that make sense to you? You know what sticks onto your kettle? So the stuff that they're putting through when you're boiling your kettle, you're seeing it, but then they're saying it's something else, if that makes sense. Because I've used different types of things, and this thing still keeps coming back. Do you know what I mean? So I thought it was the element in the kettle. Do you know what I mean? But then I bought a see-through kettle, and the whole thing stuck to the glass on the see-through kettle. Do you know what I mean? And you could see this cloud. And I was even getting like a silver scrubber to scrub inside my kettle, and I broke it now. Because, do you know what? I ended up getting a spoon to try and knock it off, this whatever this is, this like fluoride stuff that's all in your water. Do you know what I mean? So it's something for people to, think about, what they're putting in their bodies, and how this government can deceive you without you even realizing, that they are deceiving you. And Hitler used fluoride to kill the Jews through the water, but obviously we only have like a very small amount. And in your toothpaste we have fluoride, as well. But we've got like a pineal gland in the middle of your head. And I've been watching this David Wilcock. So if you get onto him, and apparently, like, because all this stuff in the water numbs down your gland in your brain, this gland that links you up to like your spirituality.
Yeah, well, I think we just got a comment here from Wiki Police Watch saying bottled water's got a load of crap in it too. But I did look into that because I heard that. But I went on the website of the people that produce this water, and they say they don't add anything in it at all. But the water is a spring water that I bought, and apparently there's chemicals that naturally occur in spring water as it comes through the rocks, and those are left in. But there's nothing. They say there's nothing added to it. It's literally out of the spring and then bottled,
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there are some waters that things are added to, but maybe that's something you need to check and find out which ones are good to buy and which ones are bad to buy,
And if you start to research plastic, and that's another level, because obviously plastic can let off certain.
Oh yeah, there was talk about if you leave water in plastic containers too long, it can cause cancer. And
well, that's it. So what the hell is our government doing? Go back to glass bottles. You remember, like, I know maybe we shouldn't be drinking.
I remember those. You used to get a refund when you took them back, didn't you?
Yeah. And how have they just been able to get away, even these water companies, to be able to do these things to us? Because when these companies like your water board and things were government run, and obviously they've been sold off. I'm not saying it was all perfect when it was government run, but the people had a bit more of a say. Do you know what I mean? And it's like now we're paying for products. I mean, what I pay 30 odd pounds a month for me water. Do you know what I mean? Thankfully, I'm not on one of those meter things. Mine's just, like it should be. Well, I think everybody should have free water anyway, because we're all human beings. That's another debate in itself. Do you know what I mean? But these companies are getting away with doing things like the government doing this COVID-19, like them taking our children, like the police not being able to do the jobs properly because there's a ricochet from the government. They underfund the police. That then prevents them from doing the job. The government tell them what they should police. That then again prevents them doing their job. So you've just got this, it's like a backward triangle. Do you know what I mean? They send it down from the top, and then it comes to us. But then if you turn it up the other way, it all benefits them. Do you know what I mean?
We just got a question here from Valerie saying about she thought Kenton was on at 6 o'clock about Bill Gates, and yeah, he was, and I was really looking forward to that. But unfortunately, Kenton's been called into work.
Sorry.
So a very last minute, with an hour to go, I got hold of Tinky and said, Tinky, will you help us out and come on and cover the show in Kenton's place? And if we can fit Kenton in later on in the week, if anyone's not available, we'll get Kenton to jump on if he's free, and we'll have that show about Bill Gates, because I'm really keen to hear what he's got to tell us about that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think, Tinky, do you reckon we should ask the people in the chat room whether they use bottled water or whether they drink tap water or trust tap water?
Yeah,
let's find out if me and you are just mad or whether we're not alone in this drinking bottled water.
While you're just asking that, I will actually just go and get you my kettle.
Yeah, go and grab the kettle. You're making me want a cup of tea now.
I broke it.
And can I just say, Tinky, your lounge is as colourful and bright as you are. It's good to see.
The tattoos are all spelt right as well. No mistake.
Oh, hello, Charles. How you doing? Yeah,
Finish my tea.
Valerie just said the schedule says Kenton at 6:10. Lee, that's right. It was meant to be Kenton, but he got called in at the last minute into work, and Tinky stepped in, and yourself have joined as well to step in. And I didn't have time to change the schedule on the website, so apologies for the mistake there. But we will try and get Kenton on. Ricky Police Watch, you could have called me, I would have filled in for a couple of hours. I don't think he's only ever joined once, I think.
You can come on, can't you? Hi, Charles.
I think Ricky Tinky said you can come on. I'm going to post a link.
This to get it off my hand, right? This is the kettle, which is brand new, and it should be clear, see through. Apart from you see like the nice shiny bits.
Let's take a look. I can't see it. Hang on. Oh bloody hell! Yeah.
This is all the white. I've just flicked it out my.
And that's what you normally drink. And that's what goes in your body.
Get up in your kettle, and all this white where it looks cloudy is the build up of all this stuff from you.
It can't be healthy to put that in your body, all that.
And all that
stuff.
I've just literally. I had to get a metal spoon. This is how I broke my kettle, because I got a metal spoon to try and knock it all off, all this chemical stuff, whatever it is. And then I smashed it. But there you go, guys. My kettle rammed, brand new as well.
And how long did it take to do that? What 1 week was it?
No, 4 weeks I'd had it for.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah, there you go, guys. So
two things, Tinky, right? I don't pay any water tax or bills.
You don't?
I've never made a contract with them. I just spin the letters.
I want to get out of my now.
Well, I just bin them straight in the bin, because if you answer them, you're making a contract sort of thing. And I don't know if you know, and people actually on the forum and that know, they can't turn your water off. And that's the law. So if you don't pay the bill, they can't turn the water off.
Actually, Charles, I'm going to correct you slightly there, because I looked into this. They cannot turn your water off. It's illegal. But they are allowed to mess around with the meter and turn the water down to a trickle.
Oh.
So, yeah. Well, if one day you turn the tap on and you get the tiniest trickle of water coming out, that would be the reason why.
But they haven't done it to me, Jason.
You've got full on power. 5,
6 years, whatever it is. I don't know.
No, I've done the same thing myself. And the letters, they come and they go straight in the bin. I think I'm about 5 years in now. And yeah, nothing happens.
But that's one of the things. But the other thing I like to say, Tink, I've worked in the water industry. I mean, I was cleared something to go underground and the storage and that, and working there on that side of it as well.
Yeah.
But basically, at the water treatment plants, there's lots of filters that go through. And when you see the stuff, the filters sort of thing, and even the microbes, when you look into them, they're catching and that. But the final phase, what we were doing, putting into all the water treatment plants, were actually it's a blue fluorescent light. It kills most germs or whatever's in the water, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So all the water passes through with a shine through the glass, blue fluorescent light at it. That kills most of the germs and that. But they put the fluoride in and all this lot to kill the rest of them. And if they didn't, we'll have some real nasty water. So,
well, it's You know, because the other week I found a video on America promoting fluoride to the people. So
Mm.
at some point I'll find it for Jason, because I just think it's really interesting on how the government try to grab people's attention by doing something that really is not in their best interest, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, this is what people need to wake up to, this propaganda of what's going on all around us. I mean, how do you feel about the COVID-19? Do you feel that, you know, it is what it is? Or are you a bit like with David Icke at the minute, kind of saying that there actually isn't even anything there? People are just dying off, you know? Or do you think that there is something? And, you know, I mean, what the hell is going on? Because they're not giving us any statistic, not, you know, and how have we got Bill Gates now involved in it all? I mean, it's to do with computers. How are these people getting away with what they're doing?
Well, my view is it's just the seasonal flu, because flu will mutate, sort of thing. When the thing we talked about it the other night on one of the shows or something, basically the flu will mutate and all this every year, sort of thing. And when you have the flu jab, I mean, I've had it. I don't want flu again. I've only ever had it once in my life, sort of thing. But it does mutate, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So basically, the flu jab they give you it's basically got 4 strains of the flu, and they'll think, oh, it's going to mutate into this. But if it doesn't, what you're being given is useless, probably be useless. Perhaps
Yeah.
next year you'll be okay when the next lot comes the
I
following
mean,
year.
I think it warrants this lockdown, what they've done to the people, you know, because it was, I mean, I reported on this before I went to London the 31st of October when they started flying people to the Wirral, which is literally where Angie lives.
Yeah,
So Boris Johnson allowed the, you know, health organisation to fly people over anyway 6 months ago. So, you know, and there was loads of people that went in and out. Do you know what I mean? So wouldn't it have made a mass epidemic then 6 months ago? Because people did have it and they have been let out into the community because they flew them back from ships and planes and or wherever they've been.
yeah. To me, the reaction has been slow. As soon as they had word, and they would have known the spies and that in China, this and another, if you know what I mean, sort of thing. That something was happening in China, and basically, China is the place where roughly it starts every year, sort of thing. You know, in the flu, sort of thing, and it's going
Hey,
to come. So
that's nothing.
yeah, but that's where it comes from, basically, mostly, and all this lot. And so they should have started the precautions. The
Yeah,
prevention
well,
is
just
better than the
nation, shouldn't they? 6 months
yeah,
ago, when they started, they should have locked down the whole country, said no one's coming and no one's going out till we find out what the fuck this is. End of. Do you know what I mean? But they didn't, did they?
Well, number 10 were asked last week why it's still allowing flights into the UK, especially from the affected areas. And number 10 said, I'm not sure it was the health minister, but anyway, one of them said, well, it's already here, so what difference does it make? It makes a lot of difference because you're allowing more affected people into the country and we're trying to contain it or whatever.
Exactly. Well, hey Charles, check this out, right? I bought the Times, is it? The Sunday Times. Oh, look at
Yeah.
that there. The Queen's little look, her stamps on there as well. I never knew that in my life.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
Does the royal family own the Times? Because I didn't see the stamp on the Sun. Well, I don't get the Sun actually. You know, the other newspapers. I don't buy the Sun because of Liverpool. What happened there? But that's another thing in itself.
Yeah.
But you're talking about planes there. So I bought the Times yesterday. Anyway, it says in here, wealthy flock to UK in private jets. So they're going about in private jets while we're all on lockdown. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Hundreds of private jets have been used by rich passengers to enter the UK virus hotspots since lockdown began. So they're doing what the frig they want. Britain is already setting itself apart from the rest of the world with few travel restrictions. So they've got all us in and they've put no travel restrictions on. This is a joke. Many other countries have clamped down on international travellers and imposed quarantine rules. An investigation identified 545 private jets landing in UK airfields since the lockdown was imposed last month. They've arrived from Germany, 32, France, 27, Spain, 25. A total of 15 private jets have also arrived from America, according to a flight data supplied by WingX, an aviation consultancy. America has the world's highest COVID-19 death toll in excess of 38,000 people. More than 15,000 passengers are still arriving in the UK each day on normal flights. Check this out. No routine tests are carried out on arrivals. Do you know what I mean? Private plane operators should carry out due diligence on passengers hiring private jets to see if they conform to the government's rules of essential travel only. Some wealthy passengers are being misleading about their purpose for private jet hire, however, claiming they are travelling to family homes rather than their second home or holiday home. So they're just going on a little holiday and then they'll go back to their other little house and then back again, won't they? The UK operates an open border policy. I don't know if you want me to read a bit more of that.
Where are you finding the page? Right. Last week, a private jet left England and it landed at south of France. In fact, they had 3 or 4 helicopters waiting for him to take him to Nice or whatever it was, thing. And there's about 7, I don't know if they figure, anyways, say 7 old guys, a couple of Russians, 1 Ukraine, all really non-British, but they got British passports, millionaires, whatever. And about, I think it was 3 young ladies, 21 or something, you know what I mean? But the French turned them back, go home. So all these crossing over on their little war canoes and that daily, why aren't we taking them, go home? France is your home, but no, they give them face masks, they test them.
Well, we've even got open borders, it says here as well. So we're all on lockdown and everyone else can do what the frick they want. I mean, I'll read the rest of this just because I read that bit, Charles, but we'll just say, unlike 130 countries that have imposed travel restrictions since the pandemic began, Professor Gabriel Scally, president of the Epidemiology and Public Health at the Royal Society of Medicine, said it was hard to understand why the UK persisted in an open borders policy, calling it most peculiar. Justin Bowman, chief executive of the Air Charter Service, the largest private charter service in the world, governments are facing huge challenges moving people from different parts of the world back to the UK where they are standard. The airline stopped pretty much overnight. There are still thousands of people in the wrong place. Many of these flights will be legitimate reparations from around the world. I could hope those abusing the rules are in the minority. The Super have also been using private jets to leave the UK. A total of 767 private planes have flown from the UK airfield since the lockdown. This includes 115 flights from London Farnborough Airport, known for its discretion and bespoke service. Oh, I've never heard of that before, have you? According to one private jet company's website, the most popular destination for jets leaving the UK during the lockdown were France 34, Germany 34, Spain 30, Russia 23. Private jet hire to Moscow can cost between £20,000 and £70,000. 10 private jet planes have been flown to the United Arab Emirates since the lockdown. Industry sources say a private flight to the UAE will cost up to £100,000. One aviation source said, these are some of the wealthiest people who count the UK as their home, who are fleeing to their second homes since the lockdown was imposed. The Civil Aviation Authority, which oversees and regulates all aspects of the civil aviation in the UK, said it had no way of knowing if the hire of private aircraft has increased or declined in recent weeks, as it does not monitor the numbers. So basically, we don't bloody know. It emerged last week that the French police turned back. Oh, is this the one you're on about? Yeah, it emerged last week that the French police turned back a private jet after a group of wealthy passengers flew from Farnborough to Marseilles, or however you say it.
Marseilles.
For a holiday. Clive Jackson, founder of the private plane hire from Victor, said he believed most of the industry was acting responsible when taking bookings from the public. Sorry, guys, my phone fell.
I think Jason wants to do something.
Oh, go on then, Jace.
Hi guys, now I was going to give a mention to Carol Sharp's sister-in-law. Carol Sharp's got a message in here in the chat room saying that her sister-in-law passed away at 4:30 today. So sorry to hear that.
Sorry, I'm just looking at that.
Sorry, Carol.
I think she's taken 5 minutes out, so I don't know whether she's on the phone to her brother or what. But yeah, it's always sad to hear these sort of things.
It's awful. And you know, was anybody allowed to be with him?
I'm not sure. I mean, that's another distressing thing right now, is that people aren't allowed to go to funerals. I think it's a maximum of 10 people or something. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, it's not great.
I don't know if it was Friday or well, maybe Saturday. The government minister said one or two close relatives can go for the last rites as such, if you want to call it that way, if you know what I mean, sort of thing, to the patients, and they've got to wear obviously a mask and a gown sort of thing. That's what was said the other day, you know what I mean, whether it's in force and that, I don't know. You know what I mean? It should do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they should be allowing people to go, you know, even if they are masked up, you know, I can't that they've even disallowed this, because there's been I've been getting loads of things through saying that they're even saying to children, that have got cancer, basically they'll be separated from the parents, and they'll be putting in do not resuscitate, and this is to children. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully somebody was with
I've not heard that the do not resuscitate thing is applied to children, and I would like to think if that's been put out, I'd like to think that would be fake news if that is being put out.
No, I've had there's been 3 women speak out now about the children.
Really?
I'll put the link on.
I'm sorry. If I was a doctor or a nurse and I got instructions with a do not resuscitate thing for a child, I'd risk losing my job. I really would, because how can you, if you've got the ability to bring a child back, and how would you just stand? You wouldn't stand there, would you? You couldn't. I personally couldn't. An elderly person and it's their wishes, then fair enough, but I'm not a child. I wouldn't be able to face the parents if I could have done something and didn't, because of some red tape telling me let's not do that nowadays. Or right now. You don't mess about with life like that. It's wrong.
No, and I just feel like that the government just isn't doing enough for people who are going through all this trauma. At the end of the day, there's been all these deaths from whether it is a COVID-19 or a flu or something, do you know what I mean, that have been, highlighted, and all these people at some point would have been left alone. And I just think it's completely inhumane what the government's doing, that, that they're expecting, if my mum got ill, well, I just couldn't leave her. I wouldn't be able to leave her. Do you know what I mean? And, grieving, I know what I grieve every day for my children, so I know how poignant and in your face horrible grief is 24/7. And when going through something like this, to be on your own, where just like, obviously, because everybody's lives have all of a sudden halted as well, and then to have this, and then to have somebody pass on as well as this, and then to be on your own, do you know what I mean? It must be horrendous, because the one thing that you want when somebody passes on, and I don't care who you are, you want a hug, don't you? You just want somebody to hold you and give you a big hug. And if you're on isolation on your own, or you can't get to where you need to get to, it just must be horrendous. And it's not, I know, I mean, we can kind of keep, like this going like this way, but when it's something so personal like that, you need physical contact with a human being, don't you? Do you know, you
Yeah.
do. And when someone's passed on, oh, it's just awful, isn't it? Because especially if it's a parent, and you've got all your memories of everything, and I don't know what days you might ring them on, or certain things you might do on certain. Do you know what I mean? You've got all them things to go through, and then to be on your own and go through it, and the government to be able, I think the government should let families be able to make their own decision whether they want to mix or not, because I just think it's just gone beyond a joke now. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, if it is somebody that is really severely poorly, well, maybe that someone in the family should then say, well, do you know what, I'm going to take time and stay with this family member for 4 weeks, and then say another family member then comes in for 4 weeks. Do you get me? While we're getting through this.
Tinky, are you looking at the chat room? Because there's a message here from Carol Sharp saying in capitals. I'm guessing she's reinforcing that as a message, saying yes, you do, Tinky.
What's that? Sorry.
Carol Sharp's written in capitals. Yes, you do, Tinky.
What was that for, Jason? Sorry, I lose me.
Sorry, Carol Sharp is the lady whose sister-in-law just died, and she's just come back into the chat room after a 5-minute break, and she said, yes, you do, Tinky. So I'm guessing she's saying about needing to be around your loved ones when you're going through that, being able to have contact.
Sorry, oh God.
I'm guessing she's confirming what you're saying about that, being able to hold someone's hand and be with them in the final moments,
I mean, I've got goosebumps now just thinking about it, and yeah, it's so important. Do you know what I mean? To be there for somebody, and for yourself as well. You need a hug, and you need to hold that person. It's just I just believe it's inhumane. It is inhumane if anybody being left to go on their own. I was thinking about this morning because my grandma passed away. I think I was 15. And she was in hospital. She had asthma, and she'd had a bad chest, and she was in her 80s. And obviously, all the family was in and out of the hospital every 5 minutes. And unfortunately, she actually passed away about 7 o'clock in the morning, which obviously, nobody would have been visiting, and it was unexpected. But that was something that was, we couldn't have helped, but we can help this. Does that make sense? We can be there for our family, and we should be able to make that decision ourselves. And if we want to go into hospital and be condomed up or whatever, they put the mask on, no one would mind doing that. Of course you wouldn't mind, as long as you can sit and hold, that person's hand. Do you know what I mean? My auntie went into hospital in November. She was in her 80s as well. And she died in hospital, and she'd fallen in a bathroom. She hadn't had any fluids for about 10 hours. And when she got into hospital, even then they didn't have the time for her to make sure that she had enough fluids. And it wasn't until family even went in and assisted her with the fluids and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But if we're not there watching what they're doing, then what the hell is going on? Do you get what I'm saying? We were watching what they were doing, and some of them didn't even know what they were doing. So they're expecting us to trust them to look after our family members and not have no contact with them, and just go, oh, that's okay.
Yeah. If it was something like Ebola, which is highly contagious, if you know what I mean, can understand keeping you away, sort of thing. But I don't think COVID-19, which is basically a flu thing, you know what I mean, is classed like Ebola and all this, which turns your flesh into mush and all this lot, you know what I mean?
Oh, is that what it does?
Yeah. Turns your flesh into mush and, liquid and that, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Eats you away.
I thought,
but,
I didn't realise that. Oh.
Yeah, that's what Ebola is and all this sort of thing. But, you can understand that.
How'd you catch Ebola?
Hmm?
How'd you catch Ebola?
Well, it's mostly Africa.
Is it like fun, or like, I mean, do you know what I mean? Or
Uh,
God, I'm gonna
Not
research.
offhand now, you know what I mean? But they
God.
catch it, you know, I mean, obviously sanitation out there ain't like ours, you know what I mean? Sort of thing.
But then but then if my son got Ebola, you know, or whatever, I still couldn't leave them. I'd just have to get it. I'm sorry, I couldn't leave him to go
No,
on the
no, yeah, yeah. I mean, you would be highly gloved up, if you know what I mean. But,
yeah.
you know what I mean? What I'm saying is, something like that, you could understand. But this COVID-19, it's not, you know, whatever it is, it's a flu type thing. It's serious, you know, in one sense. But we have it every year. And 20 odd thousand, whatever the numbers is, die every year. But the stats are coming out that less people last 4 years have died overall, all types of deaths is
Yeah.
miles less than the last 4 or 5 years. So basically, government's not doing very good for itself, you know what I mean? So
And and this is what the people need to realise. The government actually works for us, right? The government is meant to be there to,
yeah,
you know, everything's completely the wrong way round. You know, we're going, oh, yes, yes, yes. What should have happened is right, Boris Johnson should have come out and said, right, we've got this mass epidemic. You know, I mean, fair enough, he might not have been able to get all of our answers straight away, but he should be asking the public, like, do you believe that, you know, now we have, just say, for instance, you know, we are where we are. He should have asked the public, you know, said, like, we need to say safe distance if this is what we have to do. Do you get me? But it's down to you to make the decision whether you want to meet up with it, immediate family. Oh, sorry, guys, just got knocked off.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He shouldn't be like just saying to you, you will do and you must do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Well, if you read that COVID law, well, they're not laws, rules he's brought out. It's
I
all
haven't.
been designed, but when you read them, it's all been designed to protect the government, not the people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
That's what.
why no autopsies, no thingy. No, they
Really?
don't do all. Yeah, it's part of that. They're not to do an autopsy, so they can say they died COVID-19 when it was heart attack. So they can put the onto the figure. Oh, look, for our lockdown, it's true. Look at the figures. Look at the figures. And a lot of them being found out to be untrue and all this lot. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. Or COVID related is another wording now they're changing. The death was COVID related. But 91% of all the deaths recorded in the hospitals have been underlying health issues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In other words, lung cancer and.
They're wording it a slight different way so the public don't realise actually what's happening in front of their eyes, isn't it, really?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, let's try and prevent it. Let's try and prevent people getting the flu and that. You know, nothing really wrong in that. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. But he's gone way over the top with the things like, you know what I mean? Now, I put on Facebook today, sort of thing, how many policemen out of all those who have died of COVID-19 or related, are policemen, since they don't obey the social distancing, they don't wear PPE, the lot. You see loads of videos of them all over the place. But how many policemen have died and that?
None.
Well, I think I might have seen one, but anyway. Well, you know, so they put themselves at risk, but they're not falling like flies. But there's something to tell you, a nurse or a doctor died, what, at 49 the other day, 49 too many to me, sort of thing. But, you know, but they're really on the front line, you know, having to treat people and that. But some of them could be, well, a lot of them probably no PPE or the right PPE and that, you know what I mean? I've said it before, people need to start understanding the law. Don't expect the government to protect you. But Health and Safety Act 1974, Section 2 to 4 it is, and it states quite clearly that the employer has to give you a safe working environment, which includes PPE for you to work in, and also for anybody working in the area you are working in. So that means Hospitals have to give our nurses and doctors the PPE to protect themselves.
Well, what does
And
that? Because right, sorry, Charles, you have just said that, and it says on here PPE on this newspaper. So let me just see what it says at the beginning.
yeah,
The Queen. I don't know if it's that one. The Queen silences her birthday gun salute. Oh no, it might not be that. It says something. In the meantime, the British suppliers were sending PPE overseas. What does that mean?
well, obviously somebody's making them and probably sold them to somebody overseas or something like, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's personal protective equipment.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
a bit
yeah.
of it.
PPEs, overalls, coveralls,
That's what, yeah.
masks, glasses, hard hats, anything like that to protect you.
Are
And
we
it's
on?
by law.
So by late February, our government itself had sent 266,000 items of protective equipment to China, including 37,500 gowns after the request for help.
Mm.
Pfizer said stockpiles of PPE had been allowed to deteriorate during the years of audacity, and training for a pandemic was neglected.
Yeah.
So we've sent all our stuff over there. Now we've got it back. It just doesn't, you know what I mean? Talk about, I mean, do you know what? I was just going to say, do things Irish. Have you ever heard that when you were a kid? Like, do you know what I mean? But I really can't even say that because there's no words for this government. They're just that thick and they think that we won't get onto them.
Yeah. Well, I think it was America first. A few days ago, some nurse in a private hospital, it is over in America or something, and they were saying unless they get given the right PPEs, they're not going to treat the people. You know,
Mm.
they're not going to put their health at risk. And somebody were moaning, and somebody put it on Facebook. I could well go and, since you're moaning, saying they should be sacked, go and take their place. Stop gobbing off. Go and take their place. It is the duty of the employer. You know what I've said. So I think, well, why should they put themselves at risk because the employer won't provide the PPE to protect them? And
Exactly.
now it's in the paper today, some of our doctors are saying it. Unless they get in the PPEs, they're not going to do it. And it's quite right. You know, I mean, they need protecting.
But
No.
my thing is, though, Charles, I mean, I've worked in the community and I've worked at Southport Hospital. And,
Yeah,
you know, anyway, you should be PPE in, personal protective. Do you know what I mean? So I don't understand how they're having this mass outcry. You know, you always wear pinnies when you go into somebody. You always wear fresh gloves. You know, you wash your hands when you're in the room with them. So do you know what I mean? I don't understand why they've not got it when, to a point, it's there. Does that make sense? And now they're not treating all the other people and they're delaying everything. Well, the equipment's still going to be there because if you go in and out of a patient's room, you're meant to walk in, wash your hands, then you put your gloves on, etc. Then before you walk out, you take your gloves off, you wash your hands, you get rid of your pinny that you've had on, and you don't walk round with, you know, equipment on that you've been into a certain room with, you know. And if
yeah,
somebody, remember when, you know, if you had an operation, there was a thing that you got, it wasn't, was it MMR, MMRSA or something?
oh
MRSA.
yeah, the killer bug. Yeah, it's a killer.
Yeah.
Eats
Well,
your
there you
body.
go. I mean, where was the lockdown? Right, I've worked through that. Do you get me? You know, and I know people that have had operations and they've caught MRSA in the bugs, and because their immunity is down and everything else in, that never healed their operation scars and stuff, and some have died from it because obviously it's never healed and things. Do you know what I mean? So that was a really severe what. So where was the lockdown on that? And that was going through hospital equipment again because they weren't cleaning it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? So,
true.
you know, you've got a mass epidemic there and it's still ongoing now. It's not stopped MRSA, they haven't sorted it. And all the other little things that you can get when you're in and out of hospitals. Do you know what I mean? So I don't understand why they've not got the protective clothes. I can understand that they maybe need more ventilators and stuff, but you know, we've got a spinal unit here at Southport Hospital. Most people have trachees in straight, you know, if they've come from a severe spinal injury, they'll have a tracheostomy, you know, sedated, a trachea in, and then they'll bring them round and slowly, and then they might get it removed. Some people don't always have to have that, but the things are there in place. So why, you know what I mean? Well, I've just read it out. They weren't ready for it, even though they were saying that they were ready for it. They weren't. But in the touch of gloves and aprons and things like that, those things should be there because we should have been doing it anyway. Because they're the procedures that you're meant to take when you work in these environments, isn't it?
Yeah. And basically, was it Friday or Saturday, Westminster Bridge at 8 o'clock?
Oh, I see.
When it was all full,
Yeah.
full of the police, ambulance service,
That.
and all this, all clapping there next to each other and all this lot, you know what I mean?
And
Where
I
was
just
it so?
felt like as if, you know, Boris Johnson, he hasn't put the money into the NHS anyway. Now he's fucking strained it a bit more. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like, well, you go and clap him. Well, what? You go and clap him because you're, like you just said, where's all the workers with it all coming out with COVID-19? Why aren't they dropping like flies?
Mm.
And I don't mean that thingy, but what is actually going on out there? You know, and RT News reports that people die of fear as well. If you're really scared of something, that can bring on God knows what amount of stress to your body.
Yeah, no, stress is one of the biggest killers. In fact,
Yeah.
you know, associated with heart attacks.
And if they've cancelled an operation that you've been building you up to, well, the stress of all that could just make you go ill. And then if you catch something and then your immunity is a bit down as well, they'll just say, oh, it's COVID-19, it's COVID-19.
Yeah, sort of thing. And, you know, it's, I don't think it's done himself any good, old Boris, and that. Wants to get rid of that so-called health minister. He's a disaster. He looks like, you know, replacement from Chucky out of all them horror movies. Seen his eyes?
They're just not enough. I mean, in fact, where did Theresa May even pop up from when she did? I mean, I'd never really heard of it. Did you hear of her before she come up?
No. Well, they showed a picture the other day. She was in I think it was an Asda as well, where she lives, queuing up. So she's 6 feet apart from others. The way Theresa May's doing the social distance. I went, no, it's not because of the COVID-19. People just don't want to stand next to her anyway, even without the disease, you know what I mean? So,
really? Did they see her queuing up, really, at Tesco?
Yeah, she was there, you know what I mean?
Which Tesco?
But like I say, they're trying to say she's obeying the social distancing. I don't know, it's the other people. Want nothing to do with it.
Imagine her going out to Tesco's, can you? Because she's got a funny little waddle, hasn't she, as well?
Well, I think she's one of the lizards they talk about. You see her with that dance?
What was that about? I mean, what was
it's a lizard dancing. It's a lizard dancing.
And how is her husband? How is he like in charge of G4S and in charge of everything? How the hell is this? You know, so they man. So say like if you've got kids that are in a mental institution, G4S will man them. They'll man the adults. They man the prisons. You know, how are they even qualified? These G4S people? I thought you had to have years of training to be like a police person or to be this or to be that to know how to deal with these people. Do you know what I mean? And how is he a billionaire? In fact, he deals with trillions. It's trillions he deals with him.
Yeah. Well, I put it on Facebook, a couple of posts about it today. The last few days, people like Khan, the London mayor, Lammy, and a couple of other Labour activists and that, trying to make a big scene that 33% of which is a third, of the people who've reported died of COVID-19, the BAME, which is Black, Asian, whatever, Middle East, I think it is, whatever, you know what I mean? Basically, just call it black, you know what I mean, or whatever, you know, general. Black, we want a full investigation into this. Why? 33%. But wait one, that's only 33%. I think the whites at 67% would like the odds changed from 67 to 33% to catching it. But they're trying to politicalise the deaths,
Yeah.
whatever, you know what I mean? The groups. And this is what we've got to stop. You know, it picks anybody, you know, whoever's going to catch it, whatever. You don't, you know, your colour, race, whatever sort of thing. You don't, you know, takes anybody out and all this lot sort of thing. But they are trying to politicalise it sort of thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it's disgusting.
Then we're just the cattle in the field outside. Really, that's how everyone's got to start looking at the situation. They're in their big pens. It's just like they're in their big castles, and like years ago, and we're on the outside. And it's just time for the people to rise up and say, you know, no more. We're not having this. How are you passing acts and legislations and doing all these things behind our backs? Do you know what I mean? And you don't even ask us about it. How can MPs? I mean, Damien Miller, my MP, I swear, I found out where he lives anyway, so I'm going to go and do a protest. And you'll never guess what I've got. Me and Anne. Where's it gone now? Oh yeah, we've got a mic now. Charles, we've got a mic and a speaker, Jason. So we're going to go out and terrorise them all.
Like you need one of those. Your voice is loud enough already, Tinky.
It's what?
Your voice is loud enough already. And Angie.
No.
You don't need an amp and a mic.
I need to be a bit louder though.
Okay.
Oh, right, sorry. Can I just tell you this, right? A week ago, I got an email through saying Tommy was on TikTok, so I thought, do you know what? I'll get on this TikTok. And obviously I forwarded a few things off to people over the week as I was doing a few bits, because you can put things together quite good and get your point across. Anyway, I'd put one of the videos out of when we'd all gone to Manchester, and it was when I was stood talking to the police. Well, it had about 70,000 views in like a day. But all my other videos all of a sudden just flew off everywhere. One had like, 10,000 in a day. And they were just flying everywhere. And then I thought, I was dead made up. I thought, oh, yeah. So Saturday night, I thought, no, stop looking at the bloody thing, because it had been doing me head in all week, because it's weird, that TikTok, once you get on it. Do you get me? Yeah. It can be like a bit addictive, because it doesn't stop the roll if you like. Checks it. Yeah. I've been deactivated. I'm removed again. So everything I go on, I just get removed. And I wouldn't even mind. I don't even have any, like, it's not like I've got loads of people following me. Do you know what I mean? There was literally, I think I had about 200-300 in the end. But yeah, so, and then they just deactivate. So TikTok's, where's our freedom, gone of speech? Why can't we just do and say what we want?
Labour Party's trying to knock Tommy off.
You can hear, Tinky.
It's what, love?
You can hear. I'm not gonna ban you, don't worry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, thanks, Jace.
Is old Becky Bennett in?
Oh, hi, Betty.
I don't think she is, because she's been here since last night. No, I think she must have just closed the laptop and left herself signed in, and it's.
I know I do sometimes. I don't close it and that.
Yeah.
No, what it is, I saw her early on when I logged on, like, that she was in. I didn't know if she was or not. But it's the latest joke about Diana. She's there looking at paper and going, "Excuse me, I can't find it. What, Diane?" She goes, "This Loch Doon. I can find Loch Ness, Loch Lomond, Loch thing, but I can't find Loch Doon on the map." Lockdown.
Yeah.
Scottish joke, you know what I mean? Yeah. Thought it was funny, like, because she would do that, you know what I mean? I cannot find this Loch Doon. You're gonna have a laugh in these times. But,
God, if you don't laugh, you'll cry, won't you?
Where is Angie? She okay?
Well, she's just with her auntie. Yeah, I tried to ring her before, but I couldn't get hold of her, so...
How is her auntie?
Tomorrow.
Angie, tell me what happened with her auntie with the oxygen machine. I was quite shocked. Do you want to tell people what's happened with that, Tinky? You might know more about it.
Again.
Angie told me about the oxygen machine. Do you want to tell people about that?
Yeah, I mean, as long as Ange doesn't mind.
Well, Angie's told me, I'm sure she won't mind you mentioning it.
No,
We haven't got to go into any personal details of who it is, but
no, I'm not going to. No, obviously, I'm not going to say anything like that. But yeah, Angie's auntie's got poorly, and she's got oxygen, and she's got cancer as well. And now so this has gone on because obviously I remember reporting on it 6 months. So October when all this started, wasn't it, with the COVID in China, and now they've just got back to her saying that they want to take her oxygen tanks from her, where these last, I think it's 16 hours, or it could be a little bit longer. I don't know if it's 24 hours or something that these last for.
wasn't it a machine, a plugged-in mains machine that they're taking off?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, yeah.
My mum's got one of those. My mum's got is it emphysema? I think it's called. And she's got the tubes go under on those, and she's hooked up this machine, and it's 24/7. You know.
Yeah, my sister had one. Yeah, and I think it's the same, isn't it, as what you're saying? That's what it is. And they want to change it to cylinders that only last, is it 8 hours or?
Yeah, I mean the cylinders are if you go out, you have like a little. My mum's got like a little trolley thing with a little bag on it, and the gas canister goes inside. It lasts 8 hours, and it's for when you want to go out the house, and it's to get you through before you get home. But yeah, they're not to be used permanently. You know,
want to remove the main one, which is which does it 24/7.
Yeah, it's like a lifeline to have that mains one. You know,
yes, they want to remove that from her. Do you know what I mean? This is a disgrace.
And give her replaceable oxygen tanks, which she's got to rely on them turning up and changing them when they've run out. And,
exactly, and if they don't show up, and people, then how do you know what I mean? How is people meant to get through it?
Yeah, it's mad.
Diagnosed with cancer in February.
And there can't be anything worse than being that short of breath that you've got and when you're having that taken away from you, it's a scary thing, really scary. When you sort of you use that oxygen tank as your lifeline to get you to get about exist each day, and to take that away, it's like you're starving someone with their oxygen. How can you do that? It makes me really angry. It really does.
Well, my sister, she died in 2015. Bless her, she's in there, and she had COPD. And when you see someone that has got breathing difficulties, it is absolutely awful to watch as a person. That can breathe, because it's so distressing to see, isn't it, Jason? Do you know what I mean?
It really is. It really is. When you see someone walk from one side of the room to the other side and they're nearly passing out from lack of oxygen, they just can't breathe. And, it's distressing.
Trying to breathe for her, even though I knew that I couldn't. You know what I mean? I couldn't physically do that for her, but it's so awful. Do you know what I mean? And when they can't get the breath back, so imagine not having that there, and what is going on? Do you know what I mean? What the hell is going on?
Yeah. Well, I call her my daughter over in Ukraine, Veronica. She's 12 and that, but when she was about 8, I don't know, I think it might be called a nebulizer.
Yeah.
Or whatever. There's some thing anyway, got bought. I know she put a little mask on and, they have little sessions with it and that. But we have a good friend and all. In fact, he was round yesterday with his wife over there. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. But straight away, he's a paramedic. And straight away, he gets the nebulizer out and all this lot. And he'll have a half hour on it. And he'll say, this is brilliant, you know what I mean? Sort of thing. For the, clears your lungs out and all this, nebulizers. I don't know what they use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just put like a powder in it, like a water.
Some of they do, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Tashy gets on with it. But like I say, this paramedic sort of thing, straight away he'll go for it and spend half hour or something. It's brilliant and that, you know what I mean? Because I don't mind coming over, with his wife and seeing Natasha. But, so there's a thing for people, if you know what I mean. Nebulizer sort of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it'll help people, I don't know whether it'll help people. going on it. It's supposed to clear the lungs out. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, the nebulizers are good. Like like if you're asthma and you've got stuff. When you feel like you've got phlegm and all that all in your throat and on do you know what I mean?
Lungs and that, yeah.
Clearing, the clearing, yeah.
I suppose a nebulizer is kind of like a real intense, extreme version of having an asthma pump. You have the little blue pumps for asthma. A lot of people have them, don't they?
Yeah.
And someone told me that it's like having eight times the dosage. One of those is there. What you said, the thingy, yeah. And you said about the powder, the chemical they're putting in. It's just open your lungs up and clear your lungs, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's different to the oxygen machine, which is a 24-hour day thing.
Yeah.
The machine is just to increase the oxygen going into your bloodstream to, because your lung capacity is so low. Whereas the nebulizer is to give you a quick, sharp burst of oxygen, just to, bring you back from the brink of a asthma attack, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, don't know if some people are worried or, think it might be a good idea for them to go and get a nebulizer and that, It's only a small thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've actually seen them being sold in my local Lidl's. They had them in the baskets. I don't know where it's a wise place to buy one from, but I have seen them. You can buy them in the shops.
No, I mean, Natasha said I need one or something, or whatever. They've been to the hospital. So maybe they need to do that. So I just gave her the money and she went and bought it and that. I don't think she really uses it now. And again, she might go on it. But, it's a good idea, like,
I think the advice is not to use them unless you really have to, because if you do use them as a habit, they don't have the effect they would have if you only use them when you really need them.
I was just going to say, I think my sister had a nebulizer but she only used to have them, she was on like a bad cold and she'd had to have steroids and stuff like that to open up her lungs.
Yeah.
But she had to have, towards the end, she had to have the oxygen on the wire wherever she went to the house and stuff. And, if they'd have taken that away from my sister, you know what I mean? So, how are they doing this to people with cancer and all sorts of other things and saying, we're just going to remove this from you? This is just not acceptable, is it?
No, not when it's something that gets you through your daily life,
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely, horrendous. And I know, my ex was diagnosed with cancer in January, and now he's not even had an appointment since. They're just leaving him saying, do 3 months isolation, and basically if you go in pain, go to the hospital. So imagine the trauma of being told that then on lockdown and not knowing even what they're going to do, what's going to happen or anything as well.
I mean, that's another job I couldn't do. I couldn't, if I was one of these people that deliver and collect these oxygen machines, and they said, look, go to this old lady, collect her oxygen machine and just give her a few gas tanks. I'd be like, no, you know what? You go and do that because I ain't doing it. I just couldn't knock on someone's door and say, give me your oxygen machine.
Exactly.
We want it back. Yeah, here's some gas canisters to get you through. Ring us when you run out. I couldn't sleep at night doing that. I really couldn't.
No, definitely not. It's awful.
My conscience would have to kick in.
Yeah, definitely. Is it nearly time up, Jason?
We can wrap up now if you want. We've got another 8 minutes if you want to use them, but we can wrap up now because we've been going over an hour.
Yeah, we'll talk 8 minutes.
Okay, you're not getting out that lightly then, Tinky. Charles said you've got to talk for another 8 minutes. He's not letting you go that quickly.
Before you show them that, don't know if you got it, I told you before that, that 2004 children, well, it's the UN's Children's Human Rights Charter and that resolution. Yeah. Well, last week and all, it's not because I'm on this human rights blogs thingy off one of the London's main barrister chambers and that, and they put these, talk about the latest court cases and that heard in London and that and around the world and that.
Oh.
And what it came out with, we all call her Nicola Sturgeon, but last week, I think it was early last week, she turned round and said that 2004 charter is to be implemented in Scottish law.
Ah.
But remember, I've told you about it, but it
Oh,
says,
yeah.
I think even on page 3 and 4, that's the, people are going to start understanding this is a treaty. A treaty overrides all acts and statutes.
Oh, I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah. A treaty overrules all acts and statutes. The UK government signed up for that 2004 Children's Human Rights Charter sort of thing. Basically, it's to stop all kidnapping and all this stuff, if you read through it and all this stuff. It's about 256 pages long, the full thing. But on page 3 or 4, whichever it is, it turned round and says, UK signed up for it, so there it is. That's all that you really need. They have signed up for it. But then it goes, but the UK government turned around and said to the UN, well, we signed up for it, instead of implementing it how you wrote it in the Charter resolution, our MPs will rewrite it applicable to us.
That's it. And, you know, you click, how many times have I been to my local MP?
Yeah. And basically, basic flies in the face. A lot of it, what they've done in their children's charters, flies in the face of the United Nations. Well, the United Nations one, we've signed up for it. So basically, this is what you've got to do in your case when you're fighting them, saying the United Nations 2004 Charter, obey it. They can't do anything. The UK government has to obey it. They've signed up for it. But that's what they've done to the European Human Rights Act. They've signed up for it, but how many cases do you hear of a white man winning a human rights case? You don't. If you're black, now say that, it's not being thingy, but you win them because you've got human rights, but a white man hasn't. They manipulate everything. But the European Human Rights Act, the UN Resolution 1948, which is the Human Rights Charter, UK government built that, wrote it. The European Human Rights Act, Winston Churchill's Justice Minister wrote that up.
Oh.
And they're not obeying them.
I know.
Just manipulate it, sort of thing. And all this lot, you know what I mean? And this is what you've got to use in your cases against them. You've got to state these. Obey. If you do not, I will take you to the United Nations.
Well, do you know what, Charles? I hope you'll be proud of me for 2 years.
Oh, yeah, right? I do. Yeah.
No, I hope you'll be proud of me for 2 years, right? And I've got 5 lots of these. I have physically wrote down everything possible, affidavits to the police, affidavits to the courts, affidavits everywhere, and wrote down, you know, proper, but they just keep ignoring me.
Yeah, but that's what they'll do. They'll try and ignore you. I mean, they ignore me. Old Delroy will tell you, I write to a lot of government ministers and that, in my cases against them, sort of thing. And Delroy gets the email as well. And Delroy, if he came on, will say, yeah, he'll know I haven't had replies from them because that's what they do. Go away. But the case has been built against them because you give them 14 days to reply. And basically, if they don't, then your case is won. Because, you know, you've been given well, you just give them 14 days. If you don't reply, then
I'm going to have for the next 2 weeks.
you just put it.
Now.
Yeah. Well, Delroy, I don't know. I had it the other day.
Handwrite everything and do copies.
Oh, have you got into the universal postage?
What's that?
Union? This. When they send you a letter, if they use a PO box, it's the Universal Postal Union.
Universal
Postal Union.
Postal Union.
Yeah. I think I've got your email in that.
You have?
Here's the thing there. Basically explains how it is fraud. They're committing fraud when they send the letters to you. They're not allowed by law. This is worldwide, another treaty sort of thing, to send bills to you as they're doing that, if you know what I mean. And Delroy will tell you how to explain how you get them over it, first thing. I've known about this and all this lot. I haven't really used it, but I've started one. But on this bit here, there's a stamp there. You buy a postage stamp, penny one, stick it there, you write your name across and a couple of other things, right? And you put that on one page. The other side, you put another stamp, a penny stamp. That's all it is. That means by law, they have to answer, because that makes it official, because it's the Queen's head and they have to answer because it's got the Queen head. And if a judge turn around and go, oh, it's there, I turns it over and go, I haven't got it, or I'm not going to obey that. But on the other side of that paper, there's another penny stamp with the Queen's head in. And he has to answer because he sworn allegiance to the Queen.
Sorry, Charles. Can I just say this? The last time I was in court, I did all that, right? I put stamps on everything, right? He threw me out.
Yeah, well, they will do. The other day, last show, I saw Tracy Blackwell on. She's talking that, and I think that were in the I know, was it Old Bailey or whatever it was. She's on about it, challenging them. And they said something to the judge and they walked out and they sat there going,
Yeah, he walked out, but then he
went to the next court and carried on. That's how corrupt they are.
Well, right. Get this, Charles. How could they throw me out when it's me that has brought the case to their attention?
I know. Well, that's why. That's why you still take him on. You appeal his decision. He's erred in law. He's done that. There's about 5 things, you're right, what he's done or they've done and that. And they can't refuse you an appeal. They might say so. I mean, they've done it many times to me, and I go, well, you can't, sort of thing. But basically, I'm leading them up to the European Human Rights Court, ECHR, even the United Nations and that. And I say to them, you are now in malfeasance in public office, which is a common law offence and all this, which is life imprisonment and that.
What's that called again?
Malfeasant in public office. Malfeasant. Yeah, malfeasant in public office.
Well, we'll use that. So, me challenge then this next 2 weeks is to do another letter, and as I do it, I'll show you all them, and then we'll see what the responses are, guys.
But there were another thing. I wrote it down the other day. I mean, I'm learning still all the time new things and that, to attack them on all this. Delroy gives a lot of things. But I've told you the other one.
Who's Delroy?
Delroy, tomorrow 7:30 his show.
Oh, on here, on yours.
Can you remember the coloured lad, at Wigan? You sat near you. There's a coloured lad. That's Delroy.
Oh, I didn't even know. So what time? 6 tomorrow?
7:30.
Tinky, you've got to check out Delroy. He's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm going to have to wake myself right up a bit more, aren't
I? Definitely.
He's amazing on all this, sort of thing. But what I'm going to say, Dick, what you're also going to fire at him, right? And I've told you before, it's Finn Kane. You've got to use case law against him. That's what a court case is all about. Lawyers, solicitors, barristers use case laws, right? All your chatter and all the things you write are really irrelevant to them because they'll refer to a case law, a lawful precedent in law, common law sort of thing. But one of the main ones you fire at them is the case Finn Kane v. F-I-N. Yeah, I've told you before. F-I-N-U-C-A-N-E, Finn Kane.
Yeah.
Right? V. United Kingdom. I've got it somewhere. Anyway, the United Kingdom, right? Basically, what it was, the case and the conclusion is, right, when you make a complaint about somebody, like the government, police, CPS, judges, they can't investigate themselves,
Yeah.
right? Has to be a fully independent person or body,
Oh,
not one they nominate, fully independent. And this is why I say you've got to keep throwing case laws at them.
tomorrow, I can't wait. I'm going out there tomorrow, guys. You've given me the bump, Charles, again.
Yeah, this is what you're going to do, because they'll try and fob you off. Oh no, we've investigated.
Yes.
And this what about a murder case, and they had inquiries, lords, and all this lot, all saying, no, we investigated this, blah blah blah. We see no collusion between the Unionist police in Northern Ireland and the Unionist, not IRA, the opposite side, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, is it?
Ulster Defence Force and that, you know what I mean? We can't find. That's what they're doing. And I tell you what, the levels this family, Finucane family, went through. I mean, I'm a Protestant, you know what I mean? They're, to me, Catholic, the other side, but everybody's allowed the law and the defence.
Oh, yeah.
But only that Finucane were a solicitor who represents IRA people. They're entitled to a defence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or whatever. So basically, Ulster Defence Force or something went and banged him off.
Check out what I've been watching on Netflix, Gabriel Fernandez. We need to get that ringing from the rooftops. What's happened to that little boy? And then the judge we've got a good judge here. She was brilliant. She was that upset that all the authorities and every single person that had failed this poor kid, she took every single one of them to court. And this is what should be happening now for all us mums and dads or whoever's going through whatever trauma they're going through, whether, do you know what I mean? I don't know what, there's that much going on out there that everybody's troubles, and I don't mean that awful, at different levels, aren't they, at different scales. It could be your kids, it could be now be your elderly relatives that are getting taken to hospital and you can't see them. Do you know what I mean? We're just like being manipulated and abused by them at every level.
Yeah. All their law acts and statutes are all manipulated and worded so they can turn it on you to get their way, no matter how you try, if you know what I mean. Now, under the child custody thing, I don't know if it's is it 1989 Act, whatever it is. I know they've redone it, whatever. But the main part of that was when a child's 9 or 10, its wishes is basically paramount. Have got to be greatly considered in the child custody cases and that, you know what I mean? Sort of thing. But how many times are the courts doing that?
Well, put it one way, the words ring in my ears. In 2018, the Kafkas worker went out and my child said, "Can I see my mummy now, please?" And the one time he let her reply to me, she said, "Did my mummy get the letter?" Because he only let them reply because he knew that they were going to interview my daughter.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
And she said, "My mummy's very important to me." Bearing in mind at this point, I've not seen her for what? Well, it was 5 years on the 1st of March for no reason. Not one reason if they got to do this to me. Do you know what I mean? And then it just shows they've even separated me from the other son. You know, he came and found me in August. Then he's been thrown out of the address that they've left him at 3 times. He's ran away, 2-3 times. That's all been all over the internet. And now he can come whenever he wants. So, all this bullshit, and they're trying to stop me from seeing my kids when I knew I could always see my kids in the first place. Do you know what I mean? And now I've been at everyone's doors saying, "Well, what you're going to do is not been in school for 8 months." So the person you've left him with, and now he's not in school now because of COVID-19, is going to be made up, isn't he?
Yeah. Like I say, they manipulate the things and that's why you've got to use all these acts and that against them and that. And like I say, 2004, the UN's child, human rights thing,
I'll
just
get
throw it at them.
You see, I do suffer with depression, as you know. I've got
Yeah,
post-traumatic.
I do that.
I go full on fire at stuff, and then I'll vire myself a bit, the way, because when you're doing your own case, it is that traumatic, because it then brings up every single little thing that you've been through, and every now and again you do need to kind of just, maybe I shouldn't distract myself as much as I do sometimes. I suppose I've to learn to what was going on out there as well, if that makes sense. So, it's not that I'm still going through the course, but obviously over these last few weeks, I've not been full on him as I would normally be because of what's been going on with all this. So,
I don't know if you can see Tinky. Is it showing?
Look at that. Do you know what? He's ace, isn't he? All organised.
Lovely. This is
I'm getting
third bedroom. Oh no, it's not only that one. Wait one.
Oh,
Hey?
Oh gosh.
This cases them.
Oh, Charles.
Hey? I'm not just a pretty boy. Oh, and I forgot for the other one.
That far side there.
Hey? And other boxes with all taking them on, the corruption. Never known so much corruption in my life.
Do you know what? I mean, if I hadn't seen it, I suppose, with my own bloody eye, myself, I wouldn't have known. And it was only because I went through what I'm going through, and I've seen what I've seen. My situation could have been sorted out in 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes. And I'm not joking yet. But no, here we are 7 years later, and they've just sent everyone round the loop-de-loop and just not done the job. And it's like, is this really real? Is this really happening?
Well, you've heard Jimmy the Act now saying, I wouldn't believe it till 2-3 years ago, and I've been eyes woken to the corruption.
Well, I mean, I've worked in care all my life and stuff like that. And I suppose, I hadn't really looked into maybe the care packages that some of them were getting it, but I knew through places, certain people that I went to at times, some of them weren't getting the right care packages. And it was only from maybe people like me coming out that appeared that then they got the right thing, what they needed. So, do you know what I mean? So I suppose there was a lot of missed things going on in front of me. Do you know what I mean? But I didn't really realise the scale. Does that make sense? And it's not that like the kids, it's at the adults, it's at the teenagers, it's at the even at an age range of 25 to 35-year-olds. The people are being targeted at different levels. Do you know what I mean? Through different angles,
Time to wrap up.
Wrap up then. Right, guys. Good night.
Hi guys, we've got Lee Go up next at 7:30 with the 5G show.
Yeah.
Right, you're back tomorrow, aren't you, Tinky? You're back with, and I'm hoping Angie will be with you tomorrow. We need to get Angie on it.
Best have because I spoke to her.
Yeah, well, she's your co-host. Otherwise, we'll sack Angie and we'll give the job to Charles. No, we can't do that to Angie. We need Angie. There's only one Angie, isn't there?
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting show tomorrow.
I'm sure it will be.
We will keep watching. Good night. God bless. Love you all.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
So sorry. Is it for the lady who's just lost?
Carol.
Carol Sharp. Yeah.
Carol.
God bless
it was
you.
with her.
Stay strong.
Yeah. Take care. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, love. Oh, let me get out.